One of the biggest arguers for regulation in our economy are companies that dominate the marketplace. They want the regulation to hobble upstarts. You see this in tech. You even saw it in Alberta for the limits on new oil sands production. The big four companies agreed with Rachel Notley to ban any upstarts because they already got their big oil sands projects. Here is the world's largest electric car maker, or at least the largest one in America, is saying, I don't want more rules and regs. He was asked about subsidies. Like I say, Tesla has taken them, but listen to him talk about that.
Because sometimes the criticism of Tesla is like, hey, Tesla gets all these subsidies. But it's worth noting that for the vehicle purchase tax credit, the $7,500, Tesla stopped getting that like 2 years ago. So whereas everyone else, I think, except for GM, still gets the $7,500 tax credit. So all of our sales this year and I think last year were had nothing to do with the tax credit because we were no longer eligible because we'd made so many electric cars. Tesla's made roughly 2/3 of all the electric cars in the United States. I'm not sure if most people are aware of that. So Tesla's made basically twice as many electric vehicles as the rest of industry combined. And we don't need the $7,500 tax credit. I would say, honestly, I would just can this whole bill. Don't pass it. That's my recommendation.
What about the support though for the charging network? I mean, there are parts of this bill and no. I mean, do we need support for gas stations? We don't. So there's no need for this for support for a charging network. I would delete it. Delete. Okay. All right.
I'm literally saying get rid of all subsidies. But also for oil and gas.
Isn't that incredible? You hear all these climate change activists calling for subsidies for electric cars, subsidies for charging stations. And there's the man who has produced twice as many electric cars as the rest of the industry combined saying, we don't need the help. We didn't want the help. I love his analogy. Do we need to subsidize gas stations? What a rebuke to the social control model of the climate change activists like Bill Gates himself, let alone politicians. He makes another brief comment about where the call for subsidies came from. He says that when he started Tesla, that wasn't on his mind. It was one of his competitors. Take a listen to this.
I'm in favor of deleting subsidies. I mean, when we started Tesla, there were no EV subsidies at all, and gasoline was super cheap. We did not anticipate any subsidies. That came later, and that came the $7,500 tax credit came as a result not of Tesla activity, but of General Motors lobbying for it. I would just say just delete them all.
I did not know that General Motors was the one that called for those subsidies. It makes sense, the old motto, what's good for General Motors is good for America. Yeah, maybe that was true, but I'm not sure if it's true anymore. That is the crony capitalist motto. Whatever else you think of Elon Musk, he's not in bed with the government. Joe Biden actually hates him. Here's a great question about research and development, which is another big government thing. People always say we need more investment in research and development as if politicians are better at that than others. Take a look at this.
There's some other good things in this bill that some would argue. I mean, a lot of money earmarked for R&D. Would you want to put that towards something?
No.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on from the bill because I think we get what you're saying on it.
In general, we should just, if we don't cut government spending, something really bad's going to happen. This is crazy. Our spending is so far in excess of revenue, it's insane. Like you could zero out all billionaires in the country. There's all this like anti-billionaire BS. If you zeroed out all the billionaires, you still wouldn't solve the deficit.
Huh. Imagine saying, I don't want the government to spend money on R&D. You would think that as a greedy capitalist, he would want free money and he would want the government to do the research for him. But he has a different mindset than the globalist, crony, corporatist. I think this is very refreshing. I think every answer is a surprise. And this next one I really appreciate. He looks at government in a way that I think every progressive, every leftist should, which is skeptically and pointing out, really, what's the difference between big government and big business, other than you can never run away from big government, you can never hold big government to account, and big government has the lawful use of violence. This is an amazing comment. That's an excerpt from my daily show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.